Few anticipated that Shedeur Sanders, who was selected by Cleveland in the 5th round, would make it to the Pro Bowl at the end of the season. Even fewer believed he would initiate it all. However, Sanders not only filled the void left by Dillon Gabriel's injury later in the season, but also completely changed the story. His performances on the field were indisputable. However, his influence off the field was what changed the league's ideals. Go ahead and subscribe if you're interested in the true tale and all the messy turns that aren't shown on highlight reels. Additionally, you should certainly subscribe if you plan to stay to watch how this Browns quarterback crisis unfolds. It wasn't statistics that led the NFL to prioritize Sanders over well-known superstars on its official Pro Bowl website. Relevance was the issue. Shedeur had it too. More than merely a viral event is reflected in this change. It represents a paradigm shift in the way brands and the league define value. Sanders' influence extends well beyond Sunday broadcasts thanks to his digital efforts, which range from his Instagram curation to his brother Deion Jr.'s behind-the-scenes Pro Bowl footage. The Sanders family is adept at telling stories, and Deion's public commemoration of his son's achievement provided a generational depth that money cannot purchase. One thing is evident for international brands observing this development. Shedeur is influencing the culture rather than merely being a part of it. Let's get right to it. Shedeur Sanders transformed the Pro Bowl into a corporate war in addition to making it. A 5th-round selection who was hardly anticipated to make an impression during his rookie campaign enters the NFL, exploits starter Dillon Gabriel's late-season injury, and all of a sudden emerges as one of the year's most talked-about quarterbacks. He grasped the task, not because he had the best stats or the most touchdowns. Perception is more important than performance. And Shedeur is outperforming most seasoned pros at that perception game. He did something no 5th-round rookie quarterback had ever done before. He was selected to the Pro Bowl after stepping in and performing well under duress. The headline might have been that alone. But when he updated his Instagram profile photo following the pick, that was the true headline. Everything changed with just one picture and no caption. Instead of playing on the pitch or wearing a jersey, Shedeur is seen on ESPN accepting the Hennessy Award while clutching a trophy that is named after a high-end liquor company that has strong linkages to black excellence and aspirational status. It was a smart, multi-layered move. It had nothing to do with conceit. For all brand executives observing, it was a high-impact signal. I am aware of what I stand for and its value. The NFL obviously noticed it as well. Because guess who was highlighted first on the official Pro Bowl website when it came time to update it? Not the biggest stars in the league. Not Lamar Jackson, not Josh Allen, nor Patrick Mahomes. Shedeur, a rookie and 5th-round pick, was the featured player. That choice told it all. The NFL is no longer merely keeping track of victories. They are monitoring influence. And Shedeur encourages participation, whether critics or admirers agree. He receives clicks. He makes people talk. He shifts cultural norms. He may be new to the league, but he already understands that attention is its most valuable measure. Additionally, the brands are lining up behind the scenes. According to reports, Nike, Adidas, Gatorade, and Hennessy are all getting ready for bidding wars to use Shedeur in their commercials. He is driving a change in how sportsmen interact with fans, markets, and meaning, not because he has the highest passer rating in the league. His online presence is a strength, not a distraction. He is not a frequent poster. He doesn't show too much of himself. Each update is computed. Each image and caption, or none at all, is thoughtfully selected. It's not a highlight reel on his feed. It's a blueprint for branding. Additionally, the image from the Hennessy Award is branding with a capital B. A deliberate adherence to achievement, luxury, and cultural significance. It wasn't just a picture on the timeline. It made a loud sound. Every marketing department worldwide was informed. This is not your typical opportunity for an endorsement. This collaboration is with a person who is aware of the value of image, who understands the meaning of symbols and how to place himself in the intersection of influence, lifestyle, and sports. The move's timing was also strategic. He didn't do it immediately following a match. It wasn't at a news conference that he did it. After being selected for the Pro Bowl, he did it when he was already being watched, while companies were updating his social media accounts. One move and his value soared, even though the NFL was already giving him top billing. Fans weren't the only ones who noticed. After the Pro Bowl news, His father, Shedeur Sanders, finally spoke up. It was also sentimental. Not only because his son accomplished something significant, but also because Shedeur accomplished it in year one. It wasn't until his third season that NFL Hall of Famer Shedeur was selected to the Pro Bowl. That is a time of family legacy and a generational milestone. Shedeur, however, did not just declare victory. He presented it as a sign of destiny, a blessing, and a confirmation from God. And that's crucial because Shedeur's public acclaim, his spiritual framing, and the way he connected this accomplishment to a larger journey not only make the story interesting, but they also elevate it to the status of myth. It turns Shedeur's ascent from a sporting headline into a story. Furthermore, narrative is power in the era of the influencer economy. Let's not disregard the criticism though. When Shedeur was selected for the Pro Bowl, there was a lot of backlash. There were doubts about whether he really deserved it and whether his name and the reputation his family had established were being used against him. However, the facts are more persuasive. Prior to attending college, Shedeur received offers from Florida State, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Oregon, and Michigan. He could have played the game like scouts and pundits anticipated, going the conventional Power 5 route. However, he went with Jackson State and later Colorado. He chose to follow his own path on purpose and strategically, not because he had no other choice. And it was successful. He didn't enter the Pro Bowl covertly. When it mattered, he delivered. Under duress, he intervened. He made the delivery. And he didn't simply seize the chance when it presented itself. After transforming it into a platform, he created a billboard using a single image. However, the true genius didn't end with a post. It grew as a result of Shedeur's brother Shedeur Sanders Jr.'s behind-the-scenes efforts to turn the Pro Bowl into content, while Shedeur maintains a tight and modest public persona. Behind-the-scenes video, TikTok snippets, and Instagram clips. He wasn't merely recording. The rollout was coordinated. Serialized material that increased Shedeur's awareness on several platforms and provided fans with an inside look. These days, academics refer to that as platform-native professionalism. Use social media as a purposeful career strategy rather than merely being active on it. Each post is made to grow. Every moment is recorded for interaction. It was more than simply a game in the Pro Bowl. It was watchable, shareable, episodic, and full of material. Shedeur is skilled at making his life enjoyable. And that's invaluable in this economy. A broader change in the NFL and in sports marketing generally is reflected in all of this. Raw statistics are no longer the only consideration. Teams and leagues are beginning to realize that cultural resonance, digital fluency, and charisma may yield just as much return on investment as performance measures. That's the ideal storm for someone like Shedeur, who's working on two fronts. You can't write him off as a fad. The on-field outcomes are available. Off-field vision is even more acute. And something has changed when a Cleveland fifth-round pick appears alongside MVPs on the biggest promotional platform in the league. He is demonstrating to the new model that success can be achieved without being drafted first. That you can outwit anyone if you manage your image, your content, and your alignment with the appropriate symbols. Shedeur didn't seek attention. He created a mechanism that directs it. Everything is reframed by his adventure. He is not an anomaly. He's not fortunate. He is thoughtful. He is the result of hard collegiate reps, elite recruiting, and a media IQ that most players never acquire. He doesn't post highlights on Instagram. It's an electronic portfolio. It wasn't just a breakout performance at the Pro Bowl. It was a case study. Most importantly, this is only the first year. Shedeur isn't at his best. The floor is being set by him. Every decision, post, and feature he has made thus far has served as a model or framework for how the upcoming generation of sportsmen will move through this new hybrid environment of game and brand, sports and media. He is more than simply a quarterback in the NFL. He is a businessman. If you're observing the game from somewhere other than the scoreboard, this is where it's happening, tracking the chaos, brand wars, viral pivots, and silent power plays. Leave a comment with your ideas. For more, click like and subscribe. Shedeur Sanders chose himself, and the entire league is watching him take the lead. This is what's causing seasoned professionals in the field to get anxious. Shedeur Sanders is not requesting authorization. While the league continues to operate under the outdated rules, he is revising them. Every executive who has a logo to safeguard is now frantically trying to figure out how to enter his orbit before the price triples. To be clear, this isn't just hype. If you can even call it that, Shedeur's entire rollout has been methodical, selected, and practically surgical. The majority of rookies enter the league with the goal of establishing their worth through volume. More interviews, more posts, and more representatives. However, Shedeur is an expert at using less. A digital breadcrumb path that resembles a carefully chosen display rather than a social feed, minimal posts, maximum effect. And that moderation is the hallmark in a sea of overexposure. Consider it. He didn't go into too much detail in his Instagram post about the Hennessy Award. Didn't include a caption about objectives being achieved or dreams coming true. It was simply posted by him. Let the picture do the talking. And since everyone was already aware of its meaning, it did so loudly. It was more than just his taking home a trophy. Shedeur was visually associating himself with one of the world's most culturally charged businesses while he was on a national broadcast. Hennessy is more than just a time to celebrate. It denotes ancestry, strength, and elevation. He informed every brand in the world, "You don't have to build me," by establishing himself there, at that very moment. He didn't say a thing about how brilliant it was that I had already arrived branded. Power can be found in that kind of silence. Because being silent becomes a tactic when you're the focus of attention. And Shedeur has been using that tactic like a seasoned politician. He's creating expectation, not just a fan base. His actions all imply that more is on the horizon. Because only a small portion of what's behind the curtain is visible to you. Additionally, expectation is leverage in the influencer economy. Let's discuss what transpired behind that curtain. However, his brother Dion Jr. was turning the Pro Bowl into a week-long documentary, while Shedeur was being enigmatic and strategic. On TikTok, Instagram, and any other site that hasn't been created yet. He was granting special access to his fans. However, the vlog wasn't hectic. It was wrapped, framed, and had a purpose. Dion Jr. is skilled at shooting his sibling. Not only is he a football player, but he is also a media celebrity, a role in the Shedeur Sanders plot, and a personality. Without revealing everything, each shot and clip gave the brand more nuance. That isn't satisfied. Serialization is what that is. The ease with which they accomplished it is also astounding. Shedeur and his staff transformed the Pro Bowl into a movie realm, while the majority of players were merely attempting to enjoy the atmosphere. A brand portfolio masquerading as a week in Vegas, a visual resume. Take it now, then zoom out. The NFL intensified it rather than merely permitting it. They overshadowed the greatest names in the game by putting Shedeur front and center on the Pro Bowl webpage. It wasn't a coincidence. Stat lines weren't the basis for that. It was an obvious shift from performance to presence, from analytics to media. The league is no longer acting phony. They are partnering with athletes who already reside in the attention economy, since they are aware of its future. Additionally, Shedeur speaks more than simply the language of digital fluency. He is a native speaker. He is unique because of this. He can conduct interviews without any media training. To curate his image, he doesn't require a stylist. The artist is him. He is establishing culture in the process. The athlete's transformation into a standalone media brand is precisely what is compelling companies like Nike and Adidas to reconsider their strategies. These days, they look at more than simply verticals like sportswear. They are examining ecosystems, influence, and lifestyle. They want to know who will steer the conversation away from the goods. And Shedeur has already responded to that query before any deal has been finalized. Because this is the stake. It is not about who has the largest stat sheet when it comes to athlete endorsements in the future. It concerns who has the greatest narrative, who can create excitement without uttering a word, and who can convey a story that people want to follow. This is the reason for the impending bidding war. It's not limited to Nike. Hennessy isn't the only one. Every brand wants to capitalize on the sports culture of Generation Z and Millennials. Every CMO aims to give their product a sense of relevance. The new ROI is every agency that receives attention. And without even requesting it, Shedeur is at the top of that tiny list. His worth is not speculative. In real time, it has been demonstrated. The selection to the Pro Bowl was more than just a prize. It served as a catalyst, an affirmation that the system has already changed in favor of players who are capable of more than just their sport. This change also challenges the worn-out nepotism argument. Because you're disregarding all of the uncomfortable facts that came before it, if you're still holding onto the notion that Shedeur's last name is the only reason he got here. For example, before he even played a collegiate snap, he received offers from 6 big college football powerhouses. Or the fact that he went in a different direction, HB, Colorado, CUs, and all because he valued the mission over appearances. He didn't pursue status. He constructed his own. And the payoff for believing in a road that most people couldn't even see is what we're experiencing right now. Brands are terrified because of this. Shedeur isn't waiting to be found, for that reason. He has already constructed the empire and scaled the wall. He's not being signed to add value. To make up for it, they are signing him. And he'll be alright if they don't. He already knows how to make money off of attention. He is skilled at establishing mystery, scarcity, and the ability to keep everyone guessing while staying one step ahead. That explains why there aren't 100 postings on his Instagram with sponsor tags and hashtags. The timeline isn't being overrun by him. The tempo is under his control. And the industry is most afraid of such control. Because an athlete who has control becomes a shareholder rather than merely a spokesperson. They influence the story. They reinterpret what collaboration means. Furthermore, Shedeur is not merely reframing it. He is illustrating the future, where an athlete doesn't have to chase attention in order to go from underdog to market leader, where a single image can spark a war of endorsements, where cultural relevance is natural rather than artificial. It's not a fortunate break. This is how media literacy, preparedness, and generational branding come together. Instincts. Therefore, it is not a question of which brand will get Shedeur Sanders. Which companies will regret sleeping on him the most? Because this young man is more than simply a quarterback. He's a movement. And this is only the introduction, which is the scary part. So let's be honest. Shedeur Sanders is having more than one successful season. It's a cultural leverage masterclass. This has nothing to do with a single viral moment. It tells the story of a rookie who recognized the risks straight away, made the correct decisions, and now has billion-dollar companies treating his social media page like real estate. The absurd thing was that he hardly had to say anything. He simply let the moments to do the talking. Because it's more than just a picture, that Instagram profile image continues appearing. It's a high-definition flex with a subtle message. Shedeur selected a picture of himself taking home the Hennessy Prize. Not a press photo, not a locker room photo, not a touchdown throw. He selected a moment of symbolic accomplishment associated with one of the black community's most potent cultural signifiers. He remained silent. He was not required to. Without being noisy, the move was loud. It's wonderful because of that. Shedeur's self-control has become his brand identity in a society where excessive sharing is the norm. Every deliberate drop, a photo, a quotation, or simply Coach Prime's quiet nod, adds to the enigma. And let's face it, in this game, mystique is equivalent to money. Mystique is adored by brands. They adore scarcity. They adore exclusivity. And Shedeur has given them all three in plenty, whether on purpose or out of habit. Now, you would be mistaken if you were sitting there thinking that a major agency or public relations firm must have developed this kind of strategy. What? The majority of what we're witnessing is an inside family-run business. Dion Jr., his brother, is more than just a helpful phone-wielding sibling. He serves as the media director de facto. The person who creates serial material drops with millions of views from ordinary times. Dion Jr. produced the trip at the Pro Bowl in addition to filming it. Every encounter, every moment, and every aspect was transformed into content gold. And not the corny, overdone influencer type. The kind that is fun, aspirational, and feels real. The kind that people want to meme, repost, and clip. You can be sure that brands were also keeping an eye on that. Because being marketable is one thing. Having an integrated system that continuously generates content is quite another. With ease. Shedeur possesses that. Access, energy, and aim are all that are needed for an organically formed media pipeline. No studio or large marketing budget. That's what contemporary businesses want. Reach without the need for red tape. This has obviously been figured out by the NFL. It says it all when they put Shedeur at the top of their official Pro Bowl page. Using the typical suspects would have allowed them to play it safe. You know the list: Jackson, Allen, Momes. Instead, a rookie selected in the 5th round took the lead. Meritocracy had nothing to do with that action. The goal was to gain momentum and capitalize on the cultural fire while it was still present. The NFL is aware of Shedeur's current popularity. However, there were some criticisms of the choice. At that point, the story takes a different turn. Because of his last name, some immediately questioned if he should have been there and whether the league was exaggerating a legacy kid. However, the duration of such skepticism was limited to the time required to verify the facts. Shedeur wasn't a case of charity. He had offers from the top universities in the country before he ever set foot on a collegiate field. Florida State, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Oregon, and Michigan. He had choices. He went in a different direction. He didn't cut corners. By committing to Jackson State and then transferring to Colorado, he made a statement. Instead of the prestige play, he wagered on his family's mission. It had nothing to do with hype. His belief in himself and in creating something more than a football career was the key. And now that Shedeur isn't simply beating the odds, that belief is loudly paying off. He is completely redefining what it means to be a successful NFL rookie. Not only with regard to play, but also with regard to positioning. He is aware that value isn't solely determined by touchdowns in 2026. Attention, influence, and cultural cash are used to gauge it. He has demonstrated that if a 5th-round pick can navigate digital space with accuracy, he can outperform top draft picks. More ROI can be produced by charisma, timing, and sincerity than by a stat line. That a press tour can never express what a quiet moment caught on national television can. Perhaps most significantly, he has demonstrated that you don't need to follow the recipe in order to succeed. Shedeur is more adept than nearly anyone in riding the wave of rapid change in the NFL. He is not requesting permission from gatekeepers from the past. He is creating new centers of authority around himself. He already has the tools that most players don't discover until their final deal, whether it's through his on-field play, his social media silence, his family-run content strategy, or his natural knowledge of contemporary branding. A rookie who plays like a starter, moves like a mogul, and acts like an expert is what we're witnessing. If you're another athlete attempting to stay up, that combo is terrifying. Because Shedeur is not only making waves but also establishing the standard for how athletes in this new era will create empires. And it's happening quickly at the moment. Brands are putting in extra effort. There is a buzz in boardrooms. They are drafting contracts. There is no one like Shedeur, despite the fact that his name appears on every shortlist, campaign mood board, and internal Slack thread that asks, how do we get someone like this? He is unique in his ability to blend cultural awareness, digital restraint, and generational brilliance. Additionally, he will be more than just a brand partner as long as he continues to perform at this level both on and off the field. He will represent the brand and the future generation. Furthermore, he won't have to speak. Make sure you're locked in if you've been following the strategy, the pandemonium, the subtle flexes, and the full-on disruption of everything we believe to be true about rookie success stories. Click the subscribe button, like this video, and share your opinions in the comments.